Right. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to the third episode in our second customer experience expert insights webinar series entitled Scaling What Works, the Value of Visual Agentic AI. And this is going to be presented by Gavin Frank, who's a VP of Ecosystems at Texi. Quick side note here, I know in my session I said that John Berg was going to be presenting. However, he is now sick. So Gavin, thankfully, is going to be presenting, and I know is going to do an awesome job with this because he is very well versed in everything we're talking about here today. So in case you missed my first episode, I talked a lot about defining agentics, where companies are today. I talked about some details about how companies are using the technology and where really the promise lies moving forward and how it can really dramatically change the workforce. And that link's available in our Agentics, How and When to Deploy for Maximum Impact series page, and also in the attachments here today. All right. So with that, I am going to go ahead and get started because I know Gavin has a lot of really cool things to talk about today and a really neat demo at the end that I think will be very eye-opening for people. Because I think what you guys are doing is pretty unique. It's pretty different from what companies typically see when it comes to agentics and AI and agent assist and all that. So let's start, Gavin, kind of from the beginning, even before AI was as much of a buzzword as it already is. Why did Texi start? Like, what problem was it really built to solve?
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me, Robin.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we are definitely rooted in visual agentic AI now, but that is definitely not where the company started. So, this was built because we've lived it, and everybody has lived this. With our founder Eitan, actually, his mother-in-law was having router and modem issues, and he was the tech support. So the frustrations about having to go, drive over there and walk through something that he's like, why isn't this simpler? Also, just Amir, same thing, like having to deal with customer service agents and just not being able to get across why the root cause and what was actually going on. And so that context, we built this out of everyday struggles, which is if you can't see what the customer is seeing, can you really diagnose a problem? So absolutely. What was that? Sorry.
I said we've all been there. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool stuff. Like I have 3 kids, and my 7-year-old was asking me, Daddy, what do you do at work? And he knows I'm in software. He knows, I was at Salesforce. I was at Oracle before that. But this is cool tech that I could explain to him, in that I just said to him, hey, buddy, if I was trying to teach you something, would you want me to tell you? Would you like me to read it to you? Would you like to read it? Or would you like me to just show you it? And he goes, show me. And I go, well, that's exactly what we're delivering with technology. So it's one of these things, once you see the problem, you can resolve it. And that's what we're calling, the visual gap. So that's something, this is kind of the promise, or the promise that you didn't know you were missing, in that, without sight, you lose all of that context. How important is sight to someone learning or going through either an issue or just kind of walking someone through something. And the metrics that we've seen kind of speak for themselves. So, large organizations, their customers being unable to resolve their issues via self-service, at a staggering rate. We see 91%. With live service, so from a call center perspective, or whoever is providing that remote service, less than 50% ability to actually resolve something with first call, which we know how important first call resolution rates are. And then finally, this one, for anyone that has, a field service, talk about directly affecting your bottom line. 1 in 4 field service visits are actually, they're unable to resolve the issue on first visit. And this is something, I see time and time again with, companies that aren't customers of Texi, that is, where, like, how many times have you had someone over to your house to deal with an issue, and one, they haven't actually identified the root cause. So they come and just are kind of doing the triage right there, and then need to go back for part or whatever it may be, or completely just don't have the context of what's going on. and having to come back for repeat visits. So that's scheduling another visit. That's how expensive a truck roll might be. And for every session that we could potentially do with Sophie Live from TechC, that's alleviating that strain on your field. And then even if it is, isn't resolved via our technology, you have all that context. So they're going out and they're empowered to actually deal with the issue at hand. So,
just if when we look at our consumer data along these lines, like we do our consumer research, and consumers want the visual engagement, like they want to be able to see when they're talking to a company they do business with. And you think about it, when we talk to family members, we're on video a lot, work. I'm on video all day long at work. It's just become a way of life. And I think that it's like the missing link. Like a lot of companies are not doing this well enough yet, where you can actually see something. If I'm doing an installation, if I have a problem, I'm trying to troubleshoot something at my home. I've done this myself, just like my own like little, it's just me. This part isn't our whole research data, but I've seen it's about 80% faster to get something resolved when the person who's helping me on a call can see what I'm doing.
Sure.
This is my own little anecdotal stuff, but when we ask consumers about this, over 90% in any scenario we ask them, we give them all these like use cases, more than 90% of consumers want that visual, the ability to do the visual. They want like click to video. They want to be able to control that. And I think that this is something where companies really have to step up.
Yeah, 100%. Because this is you're providing so much guesswork. If the visual component isn't there, and then you think about like an automated agent perspective. Or is it an old chatbot? Is it a scripted flow that frustrates the customer? Even if there is an ability to potentially just upload an image, like can it resolve? Can it actually do the image recognition, the object detection? Like, does it have the context? And then, getting into the agentic, does it have the agency or the ability to then diagnose based on what it's seeing and either provide the agent that know-how and that knowledge and that assisting, or actually be able to provide and perform the task itself.
So talk to me more about like how Agentic is part of this now. So we've established that we all can relate to this problem of not being able to see something when you're talking to somebody. That's an issue. So now, how does AI and Agentic help what you're doing?
Sure. And I probably should have progressed to this slide when we were talking before. But yeah, so anyway, we're seeing this, and I'll jump into your question in a second. But we're trusted across the Fortune 500. We see a ton of outcomes across from increasing CSAT to reducing overhead to faster service and creating a greater impact. So back to that truck roll piece, you think about carbon emissions, you think about just some of the sustainability practices and efforts that companies are doing. It directly affects this. So just wanted to touch on that quickly, but to get to your question, which I get very excited to talk about with customers, with partners, with just everyday people about our product, but then the market at large, like where does Agentic come in? So for those that have only heard it from a marketing term, it's this idea of agentic AI. We went from generative and everyone's just getting their head around like GPT and just even like using the tools, using ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whatever, AI is baked into your day-to-day life. This idea of agentic is like that next step. And really what it is it's AI with agency. So you're giving the AI the ability to help with or deliver on complex tasks or workflows. And where that pertains to us, and as you see this, I kind of have a crawl, walk, run, or like a crawl, walk, jog, run approach here for how we look at it. But agentic, first and foremost, so as I said, the product is rooted in a visual support tool. So no AI on the front end from a workflow perspective, but AI in the background through this idea of Sophie knowledge. So our platform is called the Sophie AI platform. And we have this pervasive layer called knowledge. So as you're running a Sophie Live session, so what I just talked through, all of the remote support, all of that session data, so the structured and unstructured across video, images, audio transcription, the text, any text that's gone back and forth, or even the summary data. So what was done, what steps were taken, all of that ends up in the service console, your CRM or wherever your system of record is. All of that data is flowing through knowledge. And that is the data that is needed to then turn on AI use cases. So the ability to drive value with a tool that drives value right away, as I touched on from a field service perspective. But then when you turn these on, agentic starts to happen with this idea of Sophie Assist. So Sophie Assist is married to Sophie Live, which is our remote support tool. And Sophie Assist is where you start to give agency to AI to provide your agents or your field technicians or potentially customers or field agents of any kind. It could be a sales rep, for instance. But with the agency of the agent actually being able to provide you knowledge-based articles or to provide you triage or potential resolution paths based on what it sees in the video or image. Human in the loop. So the ability for a person to use that knowledge, or if at the time, if it's early on and that isn't the right way for them to go, they can do it their way and then let the AI, go back to the agent and say, actually, here's how we resolved it. And then, as I said, because it's pervasive in the background around the knowledge, it's continuing to learn and get better. So that's the first stepping stone is assist. And I feel like the majority of customers that we talk to and the market at large is kind of at that point. I think overall, from like a marketing perspective, everyone's kind of leapfrogged over this to like full automation, which gets a little scary with, just handing over the AI to like a very important workflow or to a potential like revenue stream or something that's incredibly important, like your customer support channels. But this idea of assist, which would be pervasive, there's always going to be complex issues that need a level of empathy or a level of out of the box thinking that the AI certainly could support. But at the same time, a lot of the times, people feel comfortable dealing with another person. That's the beauty of human to human interactions. But as organizations start to see where those repeatable assist use cases come on and things that they can put guardrails around and potentially push to full automation, you can push it to full automation and then have agents potentially, providing guidance or, you think about first call resolution. What if while someone's on hold waiting for, your tech support or whoever it may be, actually getting proactively reached out to with a link, being able to go through a Sophie agent and potentially triage or deal with that issue before you even have engaged with a service agent. And assuming it doesn't get resolved, then you can escalate it to that human in the loop. And that human then has all of the context from that interaction that you had with the agent. So that's like that next stepping stone. And we'll, I think this is something I want to talk to you more about, but this idea of orchestration. So I think that's kind of where everything's headed, I think. And that's where, going back to like the agentic use cases. So now we have agents, in the stepping stone, autonomous agents doing actions, resolving issues. That next level is, hey, now this agent goes, based on this resolution, I'm going to broker a downstream action with a marketing agent. So your marketing platform, hey, we've resolved this issue. Go push marketing agent, go push this campaign and this promotion tied to customer satisfaction. Or, hey, service agent, go close that case and push all of the summary data to our drive or to our system of record. So things of that nature where, past the days of, API, just pub sub type of interactions, This is actually the agents talking to agents. So that's Agentic in a nutshell from Texie with our Sophie AI platform. But yeah, it's definitely a crawl, walk, run, and I feel like that human in the loop, that early assist, and really starting to get that right before feeling like you have to just jump into full automation is an important thing that I definitely want to leave behind with anyone listening to this session.
Yeah, and I think we've had agent assist out there for a while. I think when an agent assist is an agentic agent, I think it can do more in the processes. I think it can be a little bit more assertive and proactive and make these decisions that we didn't see before. Sure. Before I have to type in a question as an agent, the agentic agent has already figured out what I need, kind of, and it's delivering it to me.
Exactly.
And I do think you can do both of these at once. If you're getting into agentics, you can have the agent assist side of it with an agentic agent behind the scenes, but also use an agentic framework for that, self-service for customers. But start with pretty simple use cases. I always tell people, don't try and boil the ocean. Don't try and get too complex. You want to make sure you're starting simple. You don't want to turn your customers away. And I will tell you, in our research right now, consumers are just now starting to really like AI. I shouldn't say like, but they're becoming more accepting of it. And it was just in this last round of research that we just conducted 2 months ago, we're starting to see that turnaround. And I think a lot of that, honestly, is driven by what we're seeing with agentic AI. With generative AI first. And I think that will accelerate as companies start using more agentic. But
100%.
Demo. I want to see a demo.
100. Yeah, definitely. Let's see this in action.
Pieces of this over the years, and I just think the audience would really enjoy this because it's something they probably haven't seen.
Yeah, so let's. This is a full autonomous use case with one of our marquee customers. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video.
Good morning, and thanks for reaching out. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, my name's Joe.
So Joe, how can I help you?
I need help setting up my air purifier.
Sure. Please tap OK to turn on your camera so I can see the problem. Let's see what's going on. Let's start by making sure your air filters are in place.
Sure.
Please show me the side of your unit. Great. Now please push the latches down to release the panels.
Like this?
Yep, that's it. Now gently pull them apart.
How's that?
Great. Do you have the air filters handy?
These things?
Yep. Let's put each one in just like this.
How's that?
Perfect. Now that they are in place, let's put the cover back on. You can now plug it in and press the power button here.
I don't see my air purifier on Google Home.
Can you show me your Google Home screen?
Sure. Here you go.
To start, tap the plus icon here. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
How often should I be changing these filters? Should I order a spare set now?
These filters should last about a year with 12 hours of daily use. I can help you order a replacement set today, or I can schedule an email reminder in 11 months from now.
Yeah, let's put that order in now. I can never keep track of all my emails.
Yeah, and that was completely agentic, so no human involvement there.
No human in the loop, no. But I mean, that is after countless engagements, with human in the loop, without AI, with assist, and getting kind of those workflows and that deterministic kind of know-how down, and then having all of those knowledge-based articles, understanding the technology, but yes, full autonomous, and then that avatar could be however they want it to potentially present. That's completely up to the company. So it's very, very powerful stuff when you do get to the full the full autonomy.
Yeah. And this is a real world use case. This is not like something you're doing in the labs. This is an actual company doing. This is so
that's Dyson. And they are using it to help provide remote service autonomously.
Yeah. So I mean, when people say, "Oh, this is all futuristic," well, it's not. It's it's actually working. So it's pretty cool. Okay. So I know as we're wrapping up here, I want to thank everyone for taking out the time, but I want to ask you one, sort of last question, and that is,
Sure.
what's your advice to leaders, CX leaders right now? They're just maybe starting their journey in agentics. Maybe, like I've said in my presentation, only about half of companies are even familiar with the term. So this is new. So if you're out there and you haven't done anything yet, don't panic that you're falling behind. But it's definitely time to start looking at this. And I'd like to get your if you're going to be very prescriptive to me, what should I be doing next?
Yeah, I think kind of my overarching answer would be start with resolution. Start with a problem that you're having and you're looking for a fix. Don't try and boil the ocean. You're not trying to do an entire, part of your business. This is do it at kind of that bite size. What problems are you trying to deliver? Because it is from our perspective, like from a Techsy perspective, it is this resolution gap. Like, where is there a gap? What are you trying to do? To drive that better experience for your customer and better enable your employees or your company to address those needs. So I would say start bite-sized. And then that's the thing, like you start to build trust. So as you start to use these, both from an internal user, if it's an agent assist perspective, or, to the customer, that human in the loop. So that, as I said, kind of that crawl, walk, jog, run approach. Start with the problem, keep it super bite-sized, and don't wait for perfection. With human in the loop, you can provide a lot of insight and guidance and knowledge that the human still has. They're the ultimate guardrail around what gets used and what doesn't, and then it becomes lessons learned. And if you start on that journey with that bite-sized approach, before you know it, you'll find areas where automation can happen, and you'll get to that experience like we showed with Dyson.
And it was really cool. You can definitely see where it comes in very handy, rather than calling someone and saying, okay, I need to get some guidance here and changing my filters, and I'm trying to walk you through it without seeing it. It would take probably, I don't know, significantly longer to do that. So all right. Well, Gavin, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. This was
giving us
awesome.
Giving us all this data and information about the company. For our viewers and listeners, you'll see a link to the Techsy website. So please click on that and get more information from them and our attachments link there. So the replay of this episode should be up on our channel and on our series page shortly. So if you found it valuable, please feel free to share it with your colleagues. And also please take a moment to rate the webinar. It helps us to make sure that we're delivering the kind of content that you want. That we really appreciate that. So again,
thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, Gavin. Happy to have you. So I want to thank everybody very much for joining today. And this concludes our episode.